One of the most serious problems faced by lawyers today is the failure of their clients to pay bills. In other words, is the check really in the mail? There are many reasons why a client will not pay a lawyer's bill, one of which obviously is that they don't have the money. But I'd like to go through a list of some of the reasons why clients don't pay their bills and what we might be able to do about them. So the first thing is, did the client get the bill? If the client did not get the bill, then you make sure that the client does get the bill. Fax it, scan it, and email it, or personally deliver the statement to the client. The next area of possible rationale for failure to pay is because the client didn't understand the bill. So again, this person on the collection end has to ask the client, did you understand the billing? Is there anything of concern to you? Is there anything that the lawyer needs to explain to you? If the answer is yes, then that person has to get you, the lawyer, on the phone right away to have a conversation with the client to make sure that the client understands the work that you did and the value that you delivered to the client as a consequence of the work that you did. If the answer is no, then you move on to the third rationale. They didn't ask you to do what you did. Now that may sound ridiculous, but oftentimes lawyers, hearing the concerns of the client, know exactly what to do. And they rush forward without further communication with the client to do that which is needed to protect the interests of the client. But the client didn't understand that. And the client didn't ask you specifically to do that. And now you're billing the client for having done that work. And the client scratches his or her head and says, wait a minute, I didn't ask you to do that. I wanted you to do this. And so that's something that's very important. And if you run into that situation, you have to step back a moment and say, wait a minute. Let me retrace what was actually said. Did I rush off to do something that the client didn't know about or didn't ask me to do? If that's the case, then you need to adjust the billing or further educate the client in some fashion that the two of you get back onto the same page. If you're able to have a conversation with the client and the client recalls, oh yeah, I remember you saying that. I didn't quite understand it that way, but okay, then you're fine. Another reason why the client may not pay you right away is because cash is temporarily a problem. And in today's world, we can all understand that. With banks now getting large hordes of money from the federal government, but not releasing those monies in terms of lines of credit, in terms of loans and so forth, there still is not a lot of money flowing freely in the economy. And your client may be suffering from temporary cash restrictions. And under those circumstances, it would behoove you probably to work with the client on some sort of payment plan, modify your engagement agreement in some fashion so that the client can at least pay you something as time moves forward. And of course, the last item might be that the client's business has just gone south altogether. With hundreds of thousands of jobs and hundreds of thousands of people being laid off from their jobs, in today's world, it's quite possible that your client may be lucky just to exist in today's world. I mean, their business may go under altogether, but if they still exist, their business may be very damaged, and they may not have the ability to honor the agreement, though they would like to. And so you have to develop some new technique to make sure that you get paid. Otherwise, you're doing pro bono work, and otherwise you may be continuing to do work and continuing to be building up a bill that, again, will not get paid. These are some of the primary reasons that I've experienced why clients will not pay the bills. In almost all circumstances, though, the result of the client not paying the bill is the fault of the attorney, because the attorney was not careful, because the attorney did not communicate well with the client, or because the attorney did not pay attention to the economic realities of his or her practice. Pay attention to the business of law. Pay attention to your accounts receivable. Pay attention to the payment patterns of your clients. And if you do, you will get paid what you bill. Thanks for joining us today.